Hello, 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 hello. So, today we will be doing the first tarot readings for the new year. And as part of that, I have this fluorite wand, which I'm going to be using to just gently brush your energy and going to be pointing at you to fill you with positive energy. The decks that I'm going to use this month, I'm going to use my TaroT deck, and then I'm also going to use some other Art Nouveau style decks, the Art Nouveau Lenormand, and my astrological oracle cards. And to go along, grab my lighter, sorry, to go along with the purification, we're going to be starting a new year. So anything that you want to leave behind in 2020, just direct it toward the flame. Let's do some breathing together. Breathe in and hold and release, and just release everything that you've been holding on to that you want to let go of. And breathe in and hold and release. Breathe in and hold and release. Great. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. I have this stick of frankincense. Also, I love frankincense. I'm just gonna blow a little bit of this smoke all over you. And if there's anything else, I'll give you one more chance since we're starting a new year. If you have resolutions that you'd like to make, anything that you'd like to leave behind, just focus your intention and release any negative energy into the candle. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. All right, Aquarius. Let's read for you. I'm going to set the stage. So, pulling Aquarius and the Sun card out, and then putting those in the first house. Then I shuffle these remaining house cards. And to make sure they're pretty well mixed up. And then I'll have Gemini in the second, Capricorn in the third, Cancer in its native, the fourth house, Pisces in the fifth, Taurus in the sixth, Aries in the seventh, Virgo in the eighth, Scorpio in the ninth, Libra in the 10th, Sagittarius in the 11th house, and we will finish out with Leo in the 12th house. Now I'm going to distribute the planet cards. So we've got the Sun there. Oh, geez. Okay. Jupiter, the Moon, Venus, Neptune, Mars, Uranus, Saturn, Mercury, and Pluto. Then Pluto close to the 12th house and endings. Interesting. Interesting. So I'm not going to read these cards yet. Actually, I'm going to put the Celtic cross spread on top. And if any of you Aquarians have a deck of Art Nouveau style oracle cards that you'd like to recommend, please let me know in the comments. I did just order the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, and I also have the Ethereal Visions deck, which I also love very much. Alright, past, present, future, goal or destiny, your opinion, outside opinions, hopes and fears, and your final outcome. So, we'll start out looking at you, significator, Aquarius. We have the Ace of Wands, and it's in the reverse. It could be that you're on the verge of a creative push where you're feeling a creative tension building. We do have the Knight of Wands crossing that, which is fire of fire energy. A lot of action there for you, Aquarius. We'll look at the past here. So to set the stage, we've got Leo in the 12th house, the house of endings, and Leo is about a very social nature, gregarious, really puts themselves out there, kind of an energy. So there could be an ending to that, because we also have Pluto compounding that energy, putting out a light, turning off a light of some kind. Because we do have a lot of fire energy coming out right off the bat. Maybe you're Aquarius, maybe you have prominent placement of Leo in your chart. And that's the fire energy that's being talked about here. In your second house, we have Gemini. So second house has to do with things that you have or own. And Gemini is about communication. So there could be communication about that. Jupiter is wealth and expansion. There could be a communication about wealth and expansion of your possessions. Also up here, we have Sagittarius in the 11th house, which is an interesting placement. It's shown up, I think, in a couple of the readings this month. So Sagittarius is about things that you do to elevate yourself. It's a mutable fire energy. It's a very transformative energy in an alchemical sense, to take you to a higher vibration. In the 11th house, you have the energy of innovation. You also have manifestation energy, law of attraction house. You have Mercury here as well. Mercury is all about ideas and, again, about communication. So this could be communication with a group of people about this. In the past, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a situation, a work situation, in which you had to work very, very hard for little payoff. And it's possible that you're still in this situation, but that it started in the past. That would explain this drive of energy. Let's look at the current situation. We have the moon here. The the moon is emotional states, hidden things as well, and can be art. We've got Capricorn in your third house. So the third house being about communication, short distance travel, mercurial concepts. Could be tied to career because of the Capricorn bringing that in. So there could be a wealth and expansion in that sector related to communication. And we have the moon influencing that as well. So these things could be coming to light. We have Cancer in its native fourth house. Now, Cancer has to do with the emotional reciprocation between you and other people. Whether that is a reciprocation that is equal or whether it is a reciprocation that is opposite. Just any kind of emotional reciprocation taking place in the home with your family. And we have the moon, emotional states governing that as well. We also have Venus tied to that over here. So there could be a situation where there's just a lot of love in the home between you and your family. Venus being more like romantic love, so possibly a spouse, or if you have some kind of polyamorous situation going on, it could relate to that as well. The current state of affairs is the Six of Pentacles, and often this means that you are receiving charity of some kind, so that you've worked very, very hard in the past and not gotten enough money from it to take care of yourself and your family, and have ended up accepting charity. It's also possible that for some of you that you could be on unemployment at this time related to the pandemic, but because this Seven of Pentacles is upright, that tells me that you might also be an essential worker in a field where you're not getting paid enough. Let's look here at, we've got, this is your appraisal of the situation, your opinions of it, how you feel about your current situation. This is how others looking in feel about your situation or observe your situation. Here we have the Nine of Wands, which makes a lot of sense. This is you having to defend your property, yourself, having to defend your home, possibly. It is over here next to your second house of possessions, so it's tied into all of that as well. We're looking at other people looking in from the outside. What do they see? Well, you've got Pisces here in your fifth house. Pisces is your internal emotional states and can also be your psychic awareness and acuity. In the fifth house, that has to do with creativity. It also has to do with romance. So it's kind of a romantic energy. We also have Venus here touching your fifth house, so that's good for romantic energy. And we have Neptune coming in as well, so kind of a watery energy. And Neptune is an active water energy, kind of masculine, but like waves hitting the shore, that kind of feeling. Steering a boat, that kind of energy. We also have Taurus over here in the 6th house. Taurus is a very homebody kind of an energy as well, and also an energy of acquisition. So as far as daily routines and health are concerned, sometimes Taurians are known as healers, and there's definitely that energy there, possibly healing yourself, possibly implementing self-care regimens into your daily routines, especially with Neptune here. That can be ritual baths or healing baths, drinking lots of water or tea, things like that. From the outside, people see your situation as lacking balance. It's entirely possible, and in fact, with all of the water energy there, it might appear that things are a bit adrift from the outside, but I also don't see that being the totality of it. Up here in the 7th house, we have Aries. So the 7th house is about achieving homeostasis and equalization with others, specifically with partners and open enemies. It can also have to do with legal matters. We have Mars hanging out with Aries. Mars has been following Aries all over these readings that I've been doing. So here again we see that Mars and Aries have ended up next to each other, which makes sense. Mars governs Aries. It's a very active energy, can be very aggressive. Aries is fast-moving energy, has to do with beginnings, starting projects. So there could be a passionate start to a new relationship as well. And then up here in the 8th house, we have Virgo. It's the house of endings and beginnings, and can also have to do with death, sex, and other people's resources, of which their bodies are one. Now, Virgo is very analytical energy and also detail-oriented, so can be a little neurotic at times. There could be things about someone's sexual tastes that are very specific. And I say that because of this start of a new relationship. We've got Mars here, a very sexual energy, as opposed to the more romantic energy that Venus brings in. And then with Virgo there in the 8th house, it could just be that someone is very particular about certain things. We have Uranus here, the iconoclast. So that energy is coming into play with that situation as well. Let's look at your future. We have the Strength card here. So the Strength card is Leo's card, and it's showing up here almost completely opposite from Leo here in the 12th house, but kind of tying these energies all together. So I was talking about an end to social situations here that might be occurring for you. And that might be in the past, it might also be in the future, but I do see the Strength card in your future, which is Leo's card. So it could be that this is the end of one cycle and then going into a new cycle as well. That things change in such a way that the way that you get together and hang out with other people is different. Let's look here at
house is your hopes and fears. And we have the Sun card coming out. Now, the Sun is never bad. The Sun is always good. And it coming out here in the reverse in your hopes and fears. I think that what you're hoping is not that everything's going to be perfect and just like you want it, but that everything will just turn out okay. And so far, it looks like you have a good opportunity for that to happen. The Strength card here is about persuasion, too. About charm, winning someone over. And that is in your future. Let's look here at the goal or destiny. We've got Scorpio here in the 9th house. And so 9th house is all of the things that you do to elevate yourself, whether that is higher education. It could be a spiritual growth. It could be long distance travel. That's being influenced by Uranus. It's also being influenced by Saturn. So you've got the iconoclast here, and then the stodgy Luddite here. Kind of battling it out for how are you going to achieve this enlightenment. Scorpio could be, you could be involved in sex magic, even. And that would make sense with some of the other things going on here as well that we've already talked about. There could be a death of sorts going on. Scorpio can also govern endings and beginnings, cyclical things, and other people's resources. So there could be other people's time, energy, body tied up in everything that's going on here. And you've got the iconoclast on one side, and it's possible this person has a Saturn conjunct their sun or something like that, or they could be a Capricorn. Saturn energy is very tied to Capricorn. Or something like that, where there's something about where Saturn's placed in their chart. Or they could just be very tied to Saturnian energies. They could even be a Virgo. And then here in the 10th house, the 10th house of career, we've got Libra, and quite a few people have been getting Libra in their 10th house, so that's very interesting to me. It's looking for parity, and because of all of this that I see here in your current state and in your past, I think more than anything else, what you're looking for in a career, in your job, is a place that's going to compensate you fairly for your work. And if it's not directly that your job is not paying you enough, just that there might be things that are creating inequality in that situation. We have Saturn here, Saturn being about long-term, slow-moving energies, establishment, concretion. And then Mercury right next to that, where you have fast-moving energies. You've got quick communication, short distance travel. You've got ambiguity of sexuality. So finding a parity between these factors in your career is going to be key. Let's find out more about that. We have the Death card here, and I will absolutely clarify this card, because as much as that makes sense in this position, it really doesn't tell us a lot about your goal or destiny. So I will pull some more cards for that. Let's look at your final position. We did talk a little bit about Sagittarius in the 11th house and having Mercury here. We talked a little bit about Pluto and Leo already. And your final outcome card, we have the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So the potential there to have a long-term, financially stable career. But the thing is that this is in the reverse, and because it's in the final position, it's difficult to say as to whether this is very long term in the future, that this is kind of far off for you at this time, or if this is something that you'll always be reaching for and won't quite achieve. So I'm going to pull some more cards for this and this position, and then I think everything else kind of ties itself together, and we already kind of can tell what it's about. Alright, so I'm going to pull from my matchy Lenormand deck. Again, I love Art Nouveau style decks. I had a dream once about being the architect Gaudi and sleeping in the Sagrada Familia while it was being built. And I don't necessarily think that I was Gaudi in a past life. I think that sometimes, especially because when he was staying there, he was very ill. Parts of you can fracture off at times when you are weak and sick like that, and kind of float up into the ether, and then psychonauts like myself sometimes wander through them and experience little clips from other people's lives. But I just remember the feel of that place, and if you've seen parts of the building, I would travel up inside one of the spires, or like near one of the spires where all of the words are carved, different adorations. And there was like a little cubby up there where I had room for a bed and I was able to sleep. But it was open to the elements and it was very cold. I remember that part of it. And I would love to be able to go and see his buildings in person sometime. I think that would be really wonderful. Honestly, I'd like to be able to go to the last bookstore again, at this point. Let's see, let's look at death first. Let's look at the death card first. Travel. We were just talking about travel. And the home. Interesting. And cutting things out. So we didn't get the coffin, we did get the scythe. Some of you might be deciding to have a more mobile living situation. I'm going to have to pull some more cards about that. And this might be, so because this is a general reading, this might be too general. There might be too many options, but let's see. I have fish, so that's money. Tower. Some of you might be going to work for a corporation that's able to pay you a lot more. And the heart, you might actually really end up loving this corporate job. Can't imagine that, but you know, to each their own. More power to you. Maybe you love the security that it brings you. We also have the ring. That's a contract or a marriage. The mice. Something eating away. And a visitor. Well, okay, so that one's not quite as clear. I think I'm going to stick with these two. So there, for some of you, you're going to get a corporate job that affords you the security that you desire. And for others of you, you're going to end up living in a more transient situation. Like maybe getting rid of your apartment lease or your home if you own a home, and getting like a Airstream trailer and a pickup truck and taking it on the road. Maybe you decide to live out of an RV, or some people put tiny houses onto wheels and you can drive around the country like that. So some of you might be choosing to do something like that as well, and cutting a lot of ties to possessions specifically. But those are, I would say those are pretty opposite. So that kind of runs the gamut. And that tells me that because this is a general reading, it might just be too general to read for any one person. Let's look at this Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So is this something that's going to come in the future for Aquarius? Yeah, we've got the stars here. That's all your hopes and dreams coming true. We have the whip and the broom. The whip is about discipline. It's also about harsh things. And the broom, of course, sweeping things away, swatting at flies as well, clearing out cobwebs. We have the path. The path being about a choice that you're going to have to make. Do you go this way or do you go the other way? So, ironically enough, we had the two very dichotomous paths open up when we read for the Death card. So here it looks like your options are open even further.
Thank you. 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 Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And until next time, I hope to see you again very, very